Well, our title is Turn Setback into Comeback. All I can say is this crisis has gone from one city to another, covered the whole world, and the world is feeling, it's shaken up the whole world. They're feeling insecure. And it is causing a lot of stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger. And none of us have all the answers. Certainly I don't. But all I can say is, folks, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress belongs in the lunatic asylum. Now, all stress is not bad. In fact, it is stress that makes us perform. Folks, have you seen at the athlete at the Olympics? Is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he could perform. Now, the only example that I can think of is the race course, either we have seen in the real life or in the movies, the thoroughbreds, when they are being taken into the cabin, they're not walking casually relaxed. They're all jumping like this. Why? They're under very heavy stress. And after they put in the cabin, the moment the bell rings, immediately they run, they perform. Now that's a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass is walking so relaxed, comfortable, cool. He's not jumping like up and down like the thoroughbreds, but then he will always remain a jackass and never perform like a thoroughbred. So my only thing is, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat one more time. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. I repeat, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. That is the time we start breaking down. Folks, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, impacted our life. Two, our livelihood. And three, our lifestyle. How has it impacted our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. And what we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. That's the life part. The second is the livelihood component. Is now all over the world there are three kinds of people. The super rich, the mediocre, and the poor. The poor people are the worst hit. They're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They're the worst hit. Now comes the super rich. Super rich, they don't have a livelihood problem nor a cash flow problem. I was just reading last week, Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now they don't have a cash flow problem. And similarly, the Adani, the Ambanis, I don't think they have a cash flow problem. I'd be surprised. Now that leaves the mediocre. Mediocre people are like me and some of the listeners. They're thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? That is a big concern. Now, every few years, you hear a buzzword. A few years ago, the buzzword used to be startup, startup, startup. So everybody was starting up. And then the buzzword came, made in India, make in India, make in India. But now the new buzzword is work from home. Folks, maybe in the IT industry, you can possibly work from home. But how can you work from home in a construction industry? How can you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You can't. Well, there are some real issues. But now the big issue comes in is, I had a banker visit me the other day and I asked him, how is the work from home working out? You are paying salaries. Are you getting the output from them? He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. And the 80-20 rule says only 20% of people are responsible. They can work without supervision. But the 80% people still need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision. And sadly, people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. So important thing is there are major concerns that come in here. Now comes the livelihood part. Now till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were running. We had no time. Now look at the paradox. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history, and yet we don't have what? We don't have time. Now why don't we have time? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not just giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Folks, urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now look at this. Health is important, but it's not urgent. You see, exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. If I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I land up in the hospital. See, interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. Now in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But whenever we ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? We start talking to our lawyers. Now folks, what this crisis has done is literally made people step backwards and to reevaluate their priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. Sadly, the most important people many times become the most neglected too. And what this crisis has done is made people step backwards and say, reevaluate our priorities and see the direction. Till now, we were running all right, but we need to check, were we running in the right direction? And now people have realized in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, in life, direction is much more important than speed, and that is crucial. Now, with that in mind, I do want to mention something rather crucial on the livelihood side. See, going back about 45 years ago when I left India, went to US, I'm not that educated. I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed my 10th. I come from a business family. We had coal mines. The government took over. They were nationalized. And we literally came on the street. Street means street. Now, some families had money. Our family did not, because my father had died when I was in college. We were left the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married just 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born. And I saw some of the last piece of my mother's jewelry get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto and started life with a bucket in my hand washing cars door to door. For about a year and a half, I was washing cars. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And within 3 months, my manager called me back to fire me for non-performance. Now, from this point onwards, what changed my life, I became a multi-million-dollar producer, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started a New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Very important reason. See, while I was selling life insurance, I was on 100% commission. I would not get paid any money till I sold. But I saw there were some people who were on salaries and they were not doing the job. And that is the time I understood the difference between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Are you with me? Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Now, what is the difference between them? When we earn money, we put our energy and ethics behind it. That is called earning money. And that is where we started talking of wages without work amounts to stealing. And all these things I don't think any school and college is teaching today anywhere in the world. And sadly today, most people want to make money, very few want to earn money, and that is sad. Now folks, there are only two examples through history where similar crises we have faced. One was the Spanish flu. I'm sure you've heard enough times, I'm not going to repeat myself. But I'd like to just say one thing, that Spanish flu came in 1918 and it went away, and people thought the danger was over. But it came back the second phase in 1919 and killed 50 million people were dead, and that is sad. So I'm just saying that because many places the second phase is not even there or it's coming. And in US, close to 300,000 people are dead. And they're saying the second phase is not even there. In India, close to 160,000 people are dead. All I'm saying is just because the lockdown is over doesn't mean the danger is over. Now the second part was the Great Depression of 1929. The banks failed, stock market collapsed, people lost their savings, and $100 became $15. And 15 million people became unemployed. Now 15 million 100 years ago is equivalent to 50 million today, because the population of the US was only 120 million at that time. And folks, I just checked last week, close to 50 million people in the US are unemployed. Now here is the silver lining. Research and experience shows that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now during the Great Depression, when people had no money, no risk-taking ability, no education, no technology, there were some people who started their business during that time, and today they are household words. I'm going to share only 3 examples, and what they had was they were solution-focused people. If you notice, there are some people who are problem-focused in life. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out. Kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems, but we need somebody who is solution-focused. Now, folks, I'm going to share only 3 examples with you. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. He started a retail outlet in his neighborhood of non-perishable durable goods. Now these 2 words are very important. Non-perishable means if they perished, means 100% loss. Durable means if they can't sell, at least they could use it. This is how he started 100 years ago, and today his turnover is $30 billion, net worth $6 billion, and he has 1,000 retail outlets in the US, and the store's name is called Publix Supermarket. Second example, there were 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling. They caught hold of some grapes, made wine out of it, but then nobody had money to buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market, and today Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of wine trade in the US, and valuations are close to $10 billion. And third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land, he started cultivating potatoes. Now what he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat started rotting. Now he could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes, so he started freezing them. This is how he started 100 years ago, and today he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, with close to $12 billion in valuation. Now folks, I don't want to leave my listeners with the impression that you and I start any business and all of us will become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is only one thing, that many of these people faced much bigger problems than we are facing, but they were solution focused. And all we need is today to become solution focused. And I want to repeat, think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances. Now, how do we overcome this crisis? Let me share with you some steps if I have time enough. Normally I cover 9 steps, but at least I'll find time to do at least 4 or 5 today. Folks, the way to overcome the crisis is, the first one is the serenity prayer. About 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were close to 1,000 people. Dr. Peale came, looked at everybody and said, "You people appear so cool, calm, comfortable. It appears nobody has a problem here." Then he asked, "Does anybody have a problem here? Who doesn't have it?" So everybody raised their hand. We all have problems. Then he asked, "How many people would like to get rid of the problem?" Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, "While I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people lying down, all stretched out, comfortable. They have no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is?" Everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. Ek Shamshan Ghat hai. There is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, comfortable. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in their pocket. And then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problem, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is a time to get on your knees and pray to God and say, have you stopped trusting me anymore? Send me some problems. And that day, he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. In my opinion, it is the crux of life. And in the past 45 years, I have never left my home without the prayer, and I've come across a lot of adverse situations, and this prayer has helped me tide over. I'll say it twice, one in English, once in Hindi. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. परमात्मा मुझे संतुलन दो, जो मैं बदल नहीं सकता आपकी सौगात समझ के स्वीकार करूं, और अगर बदल सकता हूं तो मुझे इतनी हिम्मत और हौसला दो कि मैं उसे बदल दूं, और इतनी सुबुद्धि दो कि उनमें फर्क बता सकूं क्या बदल सकता हूं और क्या मैं नहीं बदल सकता. Folks, if you dissect this little prayer and analyze, it says it all. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Let me ask you, can we change everything in this world the way we want it? Answer is no. Can we manipulate and adjust things to suit ourselves? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. And sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. See, it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Why? Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change. And we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. And it says, if I can change, then give me the guts to do it, and wisdom to know what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched in London last year, a year and a half ago, I took this thought 2 steps forward, and I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. Now, how is life full of choices? See, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? And if I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? And if I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? See, folks, life is full of choices. Now, very important thing, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Our freedom stops. I repeat, we are all free to the point of choice, but after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? Folks, as somebody said well, in life we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon, the choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's a choice we make. Now, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not bring failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. And that is the key here all the way. Now, that is step one. And step two says, folks, convert your wasted time to productive time. How do you do that? I read somewhere 2 weeks ago that Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years. And somebody asked him after he became the president, Mr. Mandela, how did you survive 27 years in jail? And Mandela said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. Man, what an answer. I was not surviving, I was preparing. And from there we deciphered a quotation which says, I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to define me. So, convert your wasted time to productive time. How do you do it? Folks, a survey was conducted in the US. This was before the crisis. It said an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of television per day. This is before the crisis. Right now, there are people watching 8-10 hours. And by the way, it is not average American. It is average European, Indian, Australian, everywhere. They're watching 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. So a man went to his friend who used to watch 4 hours of TV per day, and he asked him, how much did this TV cost you? So the friend said, cost me $1,000. He said, you don't know how to calculate things in life. He said, have you ever calculated your monetary value of your time? He said, no, but if I make $100,000 per year, and if I work 2,000 hours per year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour. And he said, you watch 4 hours of TV per day. 50 multiplied with 4, $200 per day, multiply 365, that comes to close to $100,000 per year. He said, this TV is not cost you $1,000. It is costing you $100,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home. Folks, you don't know how to calculate things in life. That was he was told. Now, don't get me wrong. We all watch TV. We like it. There's a nice movie. It relaxes us. But tell me, watching 4 hours TV per day, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. Now, in my book, You Can Achieve More, I've given a survey which said that 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how come you gained so much of financial success in such a short time? And the answer was, we read books. What kind of books? We read only self-help books. We don't read fiction. We have no time to waste. And they've asked, how many books do you read? And they said, we read 50 books a year. Multi-millionaires and billionaires read 50 books a year. 50 books means a year means one book a week. One book a week. Folks, I was reading on Warren Buffett. He reads 6 to 8 hours per day. Bill Gates is an avid reader. And the multi-millionaires, they read one book a week. What does it tell us? That there is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more. And there is a connection here. But there are many people who said, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Well, God knows what. These are multimillionaires giving us a clue. But today you can get any book for free in a library. And I found one thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books, never. Many times people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline, make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a book second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. When you read the third time, fourth time, fifth time, you find something new in yourself. Folks, Arrow Electronics from US, a $26 billion company, they're my clients. They just celebrated their bumper quarter, $2 billion a sale in 90 days during the lockdown period. And they had a big awards function. I keynoted them. And I asked him, I said, tell me, what is the reason for your success? He said, Mr. Khera, I attended your program 15 years ago. I bought all your books. And he said, everybody, all my staff, I gave all the books to everybody. And he said, we've read your book 20 times, 20 times. And he said, if you ever forget a paragraph from your own book, call me, I'll tell you where it is. He said, we read your book every year. And there are people who tell me, I've read your book once. I said, you wasted your time and money. You haven't got anything out of it. Folks, all I can say is that during this lockdown period, you need to upskill yourself. Upskill yourself. Folks, lockdown came in March. I did my first webinar on April 8th. Till April 8th, I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. I had never done an email in my life. I didn't know how to turn the computer on. I learned this now. I'm not an expert, but I'm operating. And from April 8th to now, I have done 119 webinars. This is the 120th webinar tonight. And by the way, people are paying us for it. It has opened up a new avenue for us, and I'm giving out dates in January. What I'm saying is, this is time to upskill. Look, Mandela said, this was preparation time. We need to understand that. Okay. Step three. Folks, to overcome any stress, build strong relationships. Folks, remember, our greatest asset in life is not our bank balance. It is our relationship balance. And I've learned one thing, that people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. This is how crucial relationships are. And I address business schools, many parts of the world. And nowadays in the business school, they're teaching to build networking. And you ask them, why are you networking? So they join the Rotaries, the Lions, or the Chamber of Commerce's, and you ask them, what is the purpose? And the answer is, I'm networking. And you ask them, why are you networking? I'm networking because I'm building contacts. Why are you building contacts? Because someday he could be useful. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a politician, he's a whatever. Someday he could be useful. Now, usefulness finishes, friendship also finishes. Look at this. They don't understand the difference between, there's a big difference between building contact versus building relationships. I repeat, there's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. See, people who are building contacts so that you could be useful, usefulness goes, friendship goes too. You can never build relationship with people like that. You know why? They are parasites, they are rascals, they're only here to take. They're only here to take. Their selfishness, it doesn't work that way. See, we have an office in Singapore. And one evening I came from dinner and a man met me in the lobby and he asked me, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes. You met some people tonight? I said, yes. He said, I hope you met some people who could be useful. See, his only criteria was usefulness. What he could extract out of you. I felt like giving a piece of my mind. See, he doesn't understand that in life, meeting good people is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. Now, supposing I have a friend of 20 years and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will go for help to? The friend of 20 years. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I help him, am I doing a favor? No. Keep in mind, helping a friend is a duty of a friend, never the purpose of friendship. Why? Because if it is the purpose, purpose finishes and friendship finishes too. Keep in mind, helping each other is a duty of a friend, never the purpose of friendship. Now, a very important thing that we talk here, what builds relationship? I've heard many people talk of spirituality and they keep talking of the word tolerance. And they say you should be tolerant, tolerant, tolerant. Folks, in my vocabulary, tolerance is not a great word. The word I would replace is with mutual respect. I repeat the word. The word is mutual respect. I give you an example. I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. If we only live together because we tolerate each other, it is a matter of postponing the blast. Same thing, employers and employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other. They work together because they respect each other. But the day respect for each other goes, you can't work together. Tolerance only means we are postponing the blast. And what builds a relationship? To build a relationship, we must learn to add a value addition to another person's life. And how do you add a value addition to another person's life? By learning to give in life. You can't be a parasite, only a taker. We must learn to give. In fact, what I'm just sharing with you in the last 45 minutes, I don't know of any school and college that is teaching all this stuff. My two girls have done their masters in US. Now, we do corporate training for the past 35 years. And we tell our people that when we do corporate training, we are doing repair work. That is called repair. Now we say, if we prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. And sadly, our schools and colleges are not teaching this stuff today. I had a dean of James Cook University from Australia attend my program. And he said, Mr. Khera, we want your program to be done in our Singapore office. So they partnered with us, and now we're doing a program for them in Singapore, James Cook University. So we have created a program for schools and colleges called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. Prepare them, don't repair them. Okay, so much for relationship. Now, next one is, we need to become a proactive person. Proactive. Folks, when we do our leadership programs, we ask people, are you a good person? And sometimes people say, yes, I'm good. You ask them, what makes you good? And they say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, I don't cheat, I don't steal, so I'm good. And my answer is, I disagree with your answer. Folks, not doing bad does not make a person good. And if I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar, but that does not make me good. And if I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. See, folks, go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Not doing bad does not make a person good. A person must do good in order to be proactive. You must be proactively doing good in order to become a good person. So become a proactive person. Now, why do I share this? I've been doing leadership training for the past 35 years. And I've learned one thing, that a good leader takes a stand for something and takes a stand against something. A good leader is never neutral. And if you're neutral, you're a politician. Why am I sharing this with you? Because once I finished the program, I was addressing about 5,000 students. And a man from the audience came up and he said, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? So I learned one thing. Before you answer a question, sometimes you need to clarify the question, and two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define a Gandhian? Can you give me the criteria of being a Gandhian? What are the principles of being a Gandhian? He said, well, Gandhi stood on 3 principles. 1, Gandhi believed in with love you can win everybody. 2, Gandhi believed in principle of tolerance. 3, Gandhi believed in the principle of non-violence. And then he asked me, are you a Gandhian? I said, sir, I've been living in the US for the past 45 years, but I'm in India. And we respect our epics, the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata. I've not read them, but I've heard them. So I don't know what came to my mind. I asked him, sir, can you tell me, was Ram a Gandhian? Let us look at your 3 principles of being a Gandhian. 1, with love you can win everybody. Tell me, was Ram able to win with love? Answer is no. Ram failed the first test. 2, you said tolerance. Did Ram say, I'm a very tolerant person, you kidnap my wife, it's okay, I'll get a second one? You'll kidnap a second one, I'll get a third one? You'll kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth one? Did he say that? He said, no, I do not tolerate kidnappers. 3, you said non-violence. I said, what did Ram do? He had to pull out his weapon and kill the evil and destroy him. He killed even for self-defense. That is violence. So I said, Ram failed the 3 tests. So that means Ram was not a Gandhian. Ram didn't say I'm neutral. And Ram didn't say I have unconditional love. And Ram also didn't say I must look at things from the other person's point of view. Well, how can you look at it from a kidnapper's point of view? You become a kidnapper if you do. Folks, why go that far? Look at our life histories of 10 Sikh gurus. When the Mughals were forcibly converting into Islam, was the 10th guru, was he able to win with love? Answer is no. Did he say I will tolerate the terrorism? He said no. Did he pull the weapon? He said yes. So he was not a Gandhian either. I said, you keep talking of our scriptures, and that is what people talk of spirituality in scriptures. And I said, show me in one of your scriptures, one place where the scripture says that when the enemy is auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, where does it say at that time you should go and do bhajan, kirtan, meditation in the temples? Where does it say that? That is the time to fight. If that was not the case, if with love you could win everybody, you would have not had any Ramayana, you would not have any Bhagavad Gita, you would not have any Mahabharata. They were non-existent, they would not be existing at all today. And I said, not fighting is called cowardice. That is not tolerance. And I said, sir, I'm not a Gandhian. I am not a Gandhian. I just want to close this program with one little thing. And that is, Many times we confuse a lot of things under the guise of spirituality. I want to make it very clear. For people to overcome any crisis, we need to accept responsibility. I repeat, we need to accept responsibility and stop playing the blame game in this world. And one of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our media, print media, or even the electronic media. Anytime you open the TV, what do you see? Horoscope. And what do you see? You see there is a Babaji there, the saffron or the white, and with tilaks here, and he says, where are you calling from? What is your name? What is your date of birth? What is your time of birth? He says, Guruji, I don't know. And then he says, don't worry, I will pull it out. And he has the laptop there. And he does tick, 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 tick. And then he says, you have Patni dosh, Putri dosh, Pita dosh, Phalana dosh, Dish dosh, Dash dosh. And he says, you are Manglik, Manglik, Manglik. And then he says, you got Shani on you. Aapne Shani chad gaya, Shani chad gaya, Shani chad gaya. Now this guy is scared. And he said, how do I get rid of Shani? He said, well, Shani ko utarne ka upay ye hai. Take a black handkerchief, put a black dal in it, and then put a black kajal on it, and then find somebody with black hair, rotate it 7 times, find a black dog, and find a black button, and do this. And the world is doing it. Folks, why am I sharing this with you? Let me ask you, if it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, tell me, why don't we send Shani to Pakistan, destroy all the terrorists? If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Ladakh to fight the Chinese? I have a question to you people. Why doesn't Shani ever go to Australia? Why doesn't Shani ever go to New Zealand? Why is he permanently sitting here? Folks, I say this because if you read the life history of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they never believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. They fought against it. Folks, go check out Guru Nanak's life. He fought against it, and all Sikh families, they never tally horoscopes. There is no Manglik. There is no Shubh Muhurat. Every Sikh wedding is done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. Folks, I share with you this article. It says superstition. Folks, remember, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. This article is from India Today. It is January 2018. And it says, because of astrology and superstition, natural childbirth in many parts of India has gone down by 80%. 80%. Especially the quoted South India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras. They said, you can Google and check it out, 80% of childbirth there is done through C-section operation. You know why? Some astrologers said, this is good omen, pull out the kid at this time. 80% of childbirth is done through C-section because of this. What is going on here? Every Saturday, all you find is, at the traffic light, there are 7 mirchis and 1 nimbu. Get rid of Shani here. And very crucial thing I'm talking is that today people talk of the cat has crossed the road. Folks, I share this because for a very important reason. Folks, we all have ups and downs in life, yes, no. Life is a roller coaster, we go up and down. And when we have a down, a person who's getting somewhere in life, they analyzes the situation, learn from it, don't repeat the mistake, they accept responsibility. But a person is not looking to get anywhere in life. He says, it is not my fault, my stars are not favoring me. They never accept responsibility and they say this is bad luck. And they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again and again. I was going to the airport once and The driver hit the brakes so hard, the car came to a screeching halt. So I asked him, what happened? He said, "Saab, billi rasta kaat gayi. Billi rasta kaat gayi." So I asked him कि भैया अब क्या होगा? कहता साहब अब मैं गाड़ी रोक देता हूं, अब शगुन है क्योंकि अगर जाएंगे तो कुछ नुकसान हो जाएगा. I said if I miss my flight तो बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा. So I asked him कि भैया कब तक गाड़ी रोकोगे? कहता साहब जब तक कोई दूसरा निकल नहीं जाए. I said फिर उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा. He said that's his problem. This guy had the answer to everything. But then I asked him a second question. I said, supposing you were 25 yards behind, and supposing the cat had crossed the street, and supposing you had not seen the cat, in that case, you would have just gone ahead straight, and you would have been the first car. In that case, what would have happened? You know what his answer was? He said, in that case, बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है साहब. बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है. What a joke. सब आप हंस रहे हैं. जानते हो पढ़े लिखे PhD, MBA यही कुछ कर रहे हैं today. Remember, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. And there are people who go to the so-called God man today, touch their feet. The guy should be in jail. And people run to them and they say, Baba ji, kya kare? One Baba says, Beta, preet karo, preet karo, preet karo. One Baba is selling preet, another Baba is selling honey, another Baba is mixing honey, preet together and selling there today. Folks, all I can say is, use faith as a strength-giving tool. Blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. And lastly, I want to conclude this with that this is time to give back. We are grateful to God. God has blessed us with good food, honorable living, but there are many people who don't have that. It is time for us to share. And I have seen videos from New York, Europe, everywhere all over the world. There are people coming forward to help underprivileged, and they're coming up with time and money and food, all kinds of things. But there is one community, who has been honored all over the world. Hemant Sahab, this one community has been honored all over the world for the humanitarian service. And they've been honored by the government of Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, United States. This community has been honored all over the world for the humanitarian service. And that community is, guess what? The Sikh community of India. The Sikh community has been honored everywhere. And we're proud of it. You know why? The concept of sharing is not new to them. 500 years ago, Guru Nanak started the concept of langar, and today millions of people are eating langar there. Because the Sikh philosophy believes in three things. They're caring people, they're sharing people, and they're daring people. I repeat, they're caring people, they care. They're sharing people, they share. And they're daring people, they dare. They have the guts and courage to fight also. You know why? Because the Guru Granth Sahib, the philosophy, Sikh philosophy believes in three pillars. Nam Jap, one Chak, Kirat Kar. Nam Jap is formless God, one God. One Chak is the concept of sharing. I just want to ask these panelists here, have you ever seen a Sikh gentleman begging anywhere in the world? You will never find a Sikh as a beggar. You know why? The philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib is very clear. They work hard, honestly, and nothing is too small. Dignity of labor. They don't mind cleaning the bathroom, they don't mind cleaning the toilets, but they will not go begging. And the best part is, in the Sikhs, there is no caste. There is no caste. Every Sikh man is a Singh, and every Sikh woman is a Kaur. And I wish in India, if we had adopted the principles of the Sikh philosophy in this country instead of our own constitution, this country would have been totally a different country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khera. That was wonderfully illuminating.